Hey guys, welcome to the Tech Career Booster channel. My name is Josh Ballardine, and today I have a guest here, Yana Martens, and we are going to be talking about the IT career. And Yana Martens, she has a live stream where she has been interviewing people, and I think she has very interesting insights for us today. So I'm going to be asking her a lot of questions and bringing a lot of insights to you guys. So thank you so much for watching this video. Stay with us and take the most of it. Yana, can you please introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you have been doing.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you for having me here today. Yes, I'm Yana Martens. I'm currently working in the IT Consultancy, and I'm combining a few roles there. So I'm account manager and the head of talent. So I wear multiple hats at the moment to ensure smooth business operations, and I'm responsible for leading the people function, including things like recruitment, internal communication, and employee branding.
Interesting. So you were actually very involved with the IT, like in all areas, even the company and in your role itself. That's interesting. What inspired you to get there, and how did you actually get there?
So to be honest, I never had any career goals. Yeah, so I'm gonna just break all the stereotypes and all common advice there. Actually, I've never had any career goals myself. So I'm one of these people who just sort of go with the flow and saw the opportunities. And when the opportunity arises, you just need to stay vigilant and make sure you grab those opportunities. So for me, I actually, my education is psychology. So I finished psychology degree and then I moved to Australia and I work in quite a few different industries before the IT industry kind of started resonating with me. And my network grew in IT industry, a lot of tech people been interested in what I'm doing. And that's basically brought me to IT industry by default. So, if some of you there are thinking, oh my God, I don't know what I want to do, that's completely fine. You just need to look around and see what life brings to you.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I imagine like you have been learning more about IT. Can you tell us like how did you get a bit more information about IT? How did you learn more about that? And.
So I'm usually learn through people. So I'm a big believer learning through conversations. And to be honest, most of my learning journey been through attending events, networking with people, talking to people. So, and that's how I basically end up in the tech industry myself. And I think there is no sort of approach that fits all. Like, we all learn different ways. Some of us, more audio learners, visual learners. Some of us need to do stuff to learn. So everyone has these different styles of learning. So I think it just really depends. In my occasion, it's mostly talking to people, and hence that's why I have a YouTube channel, because that's my way of learning, by keep talking to people, keep learning through people's stories. So I find it the most effective way for myself. But I think if I talk about, people in general, I think it's just important to have your learning calendar in general. So, kind of thinking like, okay, so what do I want to learn this year, and have it in mind so that you don't, I guess, jump across different things and concentrate on one thing.
Interesting. Yeah. And as you brought that, like, what's your current interaction with software engineers, DevOps, like all these tech guys? You said you learned by interacting with them. How do you interact with them currently? Is that like interviewing or working with them day-to-day basis?
So it's, I think the life is a learning journey in general. So obviously one of my structured way of learning, it's, my weekly interviews when I interview people from the industry. And I usually learn quite a lot from these interactions, because that's that moment that you can actually get to know a person more and had a proper conversation. But it's all even these mini communications during the day. Even if I'm, for example, recruiting someone for the role, it doesn't mean that it's only me asking, like, role-related questions, I do learn from people while I'm interviewing them. If I don't know some technical tools and people talking about some tools, I'll ask them more and they explain it to me. And I tell them that, look, I don't know anything about this tool. Can you tell me a bit more, like why you think you're using it and things like that? So at the end of the day, like in my position, kind of in the high-level position, high-level overview of tech. So I don't need to be technical, but I need to understand how it's all work on the high level. And I find that talking with people works the best, because people who actually work with those tools, they try it, and every day they give you the best reviews and best stories and explain how it works.
Yeah, that's true. I've been learning a lot through that as well. Just talking to people, it's very interesting. And as you mentioned, like you have these live streams every week. And for me, I got quite impressed when I saw that like you have been doing that for a long time already. And like every single week, you don't fail. Like, can you tell us a bit more about that live streams? How did you have that idea at the first time? How did you start with that? And then what are the live streams currently?
So my current YouTube channel is about IT career in Australia. And I interview people from my network, and we're talking mostly about job search, IT career transitions and progressions, leadership skills in IT, and just general in and outs of IT industry in Australia. So we're trying to concentrate specifically in Australia as well, and trying to, capture some specifics and culture here as well. So I actually had a different YouTube channel before. It was more about marketing. But then as I drifted more into tech, and as you know, as I mentioned before, you grab those opportunities. As I drifted more to tech and start working in IT, I decided like, okay, so I think I want to learn more about IT. How I can learn more about IT, still doing what I love doing, and because I love doing that interviews and the marketing bits and stuff, and learn more about tech, and also network with people on a different level. So basically, that's how that idea of IT career in Australia YouTube channel was born. So, and I've been running it for over 2 years now. And yes, it is. I've been pretty consistent interviewing people every week. And as more you do it, as easier it gets. So I think I templated hell out of it at the moment. So I have there's such a strict structure how I do it, when I'm send the invite, when I'm send the questions and everything, that it's keep me on track, keep me disciplined. And that's why I'm doing it every week. And I must say, I meet a lot of great people through those streams. And because you talk with people like on a topic for at least an hour, you actually do get to know them more than just, quick phone call or just a quick interaction. So it actually does build those connections. And I'm trying, obviously, to do face-to-face events as well sometimes, so which is always nice to, meet people in the real life as well.
Definitely, yeah. No, but I want to congratulate you for that work, because it's not only like, as you said, you started it because you love it, but it's not only like for you. You're actually helping a lot of people on those interviews. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people interested in that, and they are learning from that as well. So at the same time you are learning, you are also helping. So that's quite impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
From those interviews, like which one you think like I wouldn't say you like the most, but can you bring some of those interviews, some insights you got from those interviews, like, or one specific interview, one specific thing you want to talk about, one specific interview?
Oh, look, I think it's so many, and they're so different. I guess to try to narrow it down. So I have like a few different topic streams, I guess. Yeah. So I talk about some job search tips. I talk about like career transitions, and there's a lot of interesting people I've spoken that transition, I don't know, from accounting to DevOps, from sales to software. Is a lot of interesting things about communication and leadership skills. I think one of the last one is a great example when we were talking about moving into leadership role, from like, I don't know, when you're moving from the senior developer role to head of engineering, for example, or something like that. And a lot of people think about it as a promotion, but in reality, it's a career change, because you're doing completely different job at the end of the day. This was a quite, yes, one of my recent interviews. That was really interesting to get this perspective, where suddenly you're not just like individual contributor, you need to, manage other people. And yeah, we kind of used to see it as a promotion, but yeah, in reality, it's a career change.
Yeah, people think like it was just like, oh yeah, you got a promotion, you're gonna be doing this now, but it's a completely different role. Whatever you're gonna be doing, actually, your daily base is gonna be different. That's interesting. Yeah,
I think another one, I've just, I just remember. So yeah, so that's those kind of streams. And also we talk about hiring and attracting top tech talent. So there's a few streams from that perspective, from the hiring manager perspective as well. And I think it was one that just popped in my mind. I really enjoy talking with one of the head of talents, and she was talking about how she basically following her candidate, like the candidate experience. When she talks about candidate experience, she thinks about the customer experience as well, because she thinks about all the candidates possibly could be customers for your company as well. So how you make sure that, while you're doing your interviews, your communication with the candidates, anything to do with communication, how you can make sure that it's on the same level as communication with your customers, because those people who you might not hire them, but they can be your potential customers, and they're your brand advocates, because they say like, I interviewed them, they didn't hire me, but I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the process. It's basically that employer branding piece that we not always think about. Just when we're thinking about hiring, we're just so concentrating about looking for another person, when we forget that it's a holistic approach to how you actually run your business and how you interact with the broader community.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I've been to interviews where, like, after the interviews, even I've been rejected in that position. Like, I was talking about that company later, and I was recommending their system and their software, because I said, "Nah, I've been there. I saw that their process. Like, I know they are good. They are so good that they didn't hire me."
Or we just wasn't a good fit, But it doesn't mean that someone couldn't be a good fit for them. So, and it's about that sort of consistency, like a brand consistency as well, so that any interaction doesn't matter. It's not only salespeople need to have those sort of interactions. It's any person in your company need to have the same level of interactions with anyone outside of the organization.
Yeah, that's a pretty good like company culture, I think. Like, it's everyone thinking of the customers, not only the sales people. Coming from someone from the recruiting team, like, sounds pretty cool. I used to say that to my team as well. They are all devs and testers and like IT guys. I said, like, I know it's not very often you interact with clients, but you have to have that mindset to look at the things with the client's mind. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. And like you said, you talk about various topics, and I think a significant portion of my audience, they are people who are thinking of changing career. They're usually people like in other areas, sometimes a completely different area. Sometimes they are in IT, but they are not actually software engineers, or they are not actually developers and that sort of thing, and they are thinking of becoming a developer. Do you think you have something from your interviews like you can bring to actually help this kind of audience?
Oh yes, definitely. I certainly had a few really good interviews where people were talking about their stories when they moved from non-technical background to IT, and everyone has a different story and sort of different career path. I think there is a lot of things to take into consideration. I think most of the time things start with the mindset. Yeah, I know we all like maybe like such a popularized word now, mindset, everyone talking about mindset. But in reality, it's true. Like, you need to get into this mindset that you're ready for this career change. You need to get these negative thoughts out, because on the back of your head, you might thinking like, oh, I don't know, I'm too old to do it. I don't know the skills. People have been doing it for 15 years. It's not for me. Like, there is just so many negative thoughts we have, and it applies to anything in our life, not only to career change. But I think it's pinpointing these thoughts and turn it to the negative, at least even like writing them down, just getting them out of the back of your mind so that you actually can turn it into positive. And if you're thinking about like, oh, I'm too old to change career, just change it to positive statement. It's the right time in my life to change a career. And in the beginning, might feels a bit uncomfortable to say it, but you need to say it to yourself. Yeah, you need to start from there. You just need to actually convince yourself first that that's what you're doing. And then I think the next point is always about thinking that you're not starting from the beginning, you're starting from experience. And maybe your experience is different, but it's still the experience. And it's finding those interchangeable skills. Thinking about, okay, so in my previous career, I've done this. In my future career, like, I need those skills. But there is so many communication skills, problem-solving skills. There is so many interchangeable skills that you can bring from one career to another. So we're not living in silos, yeah, that software engineer doing only this, and then, I don't know, a salesperson doing only this. So there is so many interchangeable skills there. And you can think about some most logical transitions. And yeah, often you have to take a step back, and you need to be prepared in your mind to take that step back if you're completely changing your career. That's kind of coming back to that mindset sort of thing as well. Yeah, you probably will have to take the step back in the beginning. I think it was really good. One of the interviews, I was interviewing Selena, who was working a lot in hospitality industry, and she was just managing restaurants. And I think she was, I don't remember some of her roles, but I think she was doing some buy and selling for restaurants, like the ordering stock and things like that. And then she moved to software engineering, and now she's working as head of engineering lead for the company who improving ordering, like a app that helping restaurants to order the fresh produce. So she had this all hospitality experience, yeah, and then she start learning to code. But then she started working for the company that related to hospitality as well, and she already knew all the in and outs of industry. So she had this massive knowledge of domain knowledge that she could brought to the team, understand business better. So you can find those sort of, the maybe like easier transitions based on your previous experience and based something that you already know, because as I said, like, everything interconnected.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I'm always telling, like in my videos and things, guys, you actually have an advantage because you had previous experience. It's different from someone fresh out of the uni or fresh out of a TAFE course. They don't have any experience, like they are just starting their career, teenagers or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no previous experience. While when you are changing career, you already know a lot of things. It might not be related with software engineer like directly, but you have a lot of knowledge, a previous knowledge, which you probably are going to be applying at some point. Even if it's like you're working with people or like working as a team, like even it's not directly as you just mentioned, that's a pretty good case, like because she was actually working the same industry. But even if you were not going to work with the same industry, all the teamwork you have bringing, like all the efforts you have been doing, like you will have experience on that. I'm always telling my audience about that. So a pretty good example. But sometimes, like, I think it's a bit more than that. Sometimes people are a bit afraid of, I'm going to have to go back to school. I'm going to have to learn new stuff. And how I'm going to learn that? Should I do like a TAFE course? Should I go to the uni again? Like, that's a question I think they are always asking themselves. Like, I'm over 30, I'm over 40. Should I back to the uni? Like, what's your thoughts about the current situation of our educational system? Like, do you think like they really need a uni to become a software engineer, or a TAFE course, or more modern approaches like online courses or some mentorship or something would be actually better for those people?
And it's a burning topic for a lot of people, and I actually had a few like discussions around it with some of my guests. And I also actually interview some people who are running traineeship programs and graduate programs and those sort of initiatives for their companies. And I think those sort of programs, one of the best ways when you actually changing careers. And what's I think important to mention, there is different programs. There is a graduate programs where people from fresh to uni, but also there is like a traineeship programs where the people who changing career. And you can apply for those traineeship programs and stuff, but you need to obviously like do already have some sort of self-learning before you apply for any like of these traineeship programs. So I think from a few conversations that I have people in the industry, I think the conclusion is usually that when you changing career, then you already maybe I don't know in the middle of your career. Probably going to uni for 3 years is a bit of a stretch, because at the end of the day, some information will be, you already know this information, you have some sort of experience, because uni also give you some general information as well. Like, I think like, yeah, if you have time, if you're in a hurry, you can go to uni. But then usually that's not the case. I think when you're more in the kind of mid-career, it's probably better to go with the short courses. And there is different versions there. There is obviously boot camps. There is some schools that run like more like a 6 months courses, like more full on a project-based courses. So there is different certifications out there. I think it's also figuring it out for yourself, I guess. And I think the network, coming back to that thing, talking to people and networking with people, I strongly believe that will help you a lot. If you just sit on the Udemy, I don't know, on the Coursera, and all you do just do the online courses, you still don't understand that, I don't know, like that real life kind of implementation, how people work with this software or how people do it. So I think finding those connections of people who already in these roles, asking them for advice, even asking them for some mentoring, even like shadowing them and asking like, can you just tell me what you do in your role? And you'll be surprised, there's a lot of people who are happy to help. I think that's an important bit about learning from people as well, not just from the online courses as such. Yeah, and then those people, like if you show them how those the people who actually will be your advocates, and they probably will even help you to find a job at the end.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you 100%. Like I always bring in my videos as well. Like I like to work with 3 pillars, not only the technical knowledge, which is usually the first thing people think of. They think, I want to change career, I have to learn how to code. That's the first thing they think. And sometimes they go to like a longer term course, but sometimes they go for a boot camp, for example, and then they leave the boot camp. They learn how to code, but usually that's not enough. And I think the next step would be exactly what you just said. You have to talk to people. You have to find your community. You have to find your people, either going to events, online events, face-to-face events, but you have to be out there and, show up and tell people, look, I'm here. I want to do that. I want to change career. I want to work in that area. Like, I think it's a pretty like useful advice for them.
I want to just, I think, Sarah mentioned one more thing. It was, I think it was interview with Nash that I had a few weeks ago, and he actually wrote the book, a career book that's full of career doodles. So he do like little scratches about the career. It's a great book. I might send you a link. So it's basically book of career doodles. Every page is like a little painting and a little story about how to basically pursue your career. And here's like one of these things that it's called networking paradox. Basically, the idea is like when we network and we're looking for job, it's the last thing you do, ask for job. Yeah. So basically what you do, like with a few layers, you get to know the person, you find some common interest, you listen to their story, you listen to their story first. When you tell your story, then you maybe ask for that advice, and then you only ask if they have a job or have something. But when we networking, and especially when we're in this like a desperate mind that we need a job, what we do, we ask for the job from the beginning, and and that just kills all the idea of networking in the first place. So you need to go through all of these stages to get to know the person first, then tell about yourself, then ask for the job. Where majority of and it applies to LinkedIn as well. How many people on LinkedIn send you a message like, oh, here's my resume, do you have any jobs? Does anyone reply to this email? Never. Like, who gonna reply? Like, I don't know, unless you're a unicorn with like, I don't know, 20 years of experience and I'm looking for this particular experience. But if it's someone like out of the uni, just start sending like your resumes around, no one gonna reply. So it's about, going through those steps, getting to know a person, networking, work your network before asking for the job, and not going from the top up like, I'll ask for a job and maybe then I get to know you if if I have time.
That's a pretty interesting framework. Like I used to say, like we should give first and then we can ask for something. But first you should give something. You should try to be helpful. You should try to how I can help that person first before that person can help me. But yeah, that structure you just mentioned, it's pretty cool, guys. Go back to the video and take notes of that. That structure is pretty good. Yeah, thank
And
you.
then also there is a similar thing, job search paradox, which is kind of related to that. That's a kind of similar concept. When someone, we all know, when someone looking to hire, last thing they do, they put the job on Seek. Yeah. So the first, they ask internally if anyone wanted this role. Then we ask for recommendation. Maybe then we go to previous candidates or candidates maybe that we rejected before, but then maybe, and like you go through all of these layers. You ask your friends, you look at the social media quickly, you do a quick search on social media, who's your network, and then if nothing worked, then you're like, okay, I'll post the job. Yeah. So, but when the people looking for the job, they like, oh, I applied to the job that's been posted. Yeah. And what it means like it's already been so many steps to fill this role and nothing worked, and like, okay, let's post the job. So you need to be there, having those conversations before the job actually been posted.
You should be the first option, not the last option. The jobs posted are like the last option. They don't have any other option, then they're gonna do that. And you should not be the last one. That's interesting as well. That's cool. Yeah, but I think I know people still saying like, but it's still challenging. And talking about challenges, who do you think has more challenges? Like someone just starting their career or someone changing career? Which one would be more challenging?
I think it's. I don't think there's an exact answer to that. I think it just depends of the person. So some people really successful in finding the role straight after uni. Some people really successful changing careers. I think we're coming back to those sort of again to the same sort of solutions. Your mindset, your communication skills, your networking skills. So I think there is pluses and minuses and everything. So then you change, like as I said, when you transitioning and you looking for a new role in the new industry, you already have some sort of experience that you can lean on. Maybe you have your network already that you can lean on. But when you finishing uni, you can have a different support. Maybe you can involve in a graduate program or internship or like program. So you have other sort of benefits that you can lean on. So I think it's just different. It's more like a different situation. I wouldn't say that one and another more challenging. I think it just maybe you need to have a bit of a different approach in each situation.
Yeah. Like people usually say that the neighbor's green is always greener. The neighbor's grass is always greener, and they look at, if they're changing career, they look, if I had done that at the beginning, it would be easier. And for the ones starting, they say, if I had some experience, it would be easier. Something else is always easier than what you're doing, but that's not true, guys. Like, you have to take your own journey, embrace your journey, and like just do what you have to do. And like those advice Yana is giving us, they are pretty valuable. And Yana, if you have something else, like for a junior, especially because when everyone is starting, even if they are changing careers, usually their first position is like a junior dev. I know we have been talking a lot of tips, but do you have like any insider tip or anything like you can tell for those ones who want to land their first junior position?
I think with the junior position, and basically I think with any position, but I think with junior it's probably even more important. Even if you're looking for the technical role, especially when you're going through first rounds of interviews, it's not about your technical skills. Yep, your first screening interview not gonna be about your coding, especially if you're junior. There is also expectation that your coding is not amazing. Yeah, there's already expectations that we're looking for a junior. We're gonna, do pair programming, or we're gonna train them on particular tools and things like that. So it's always, as a junior, there is no expectations that you're gonna be super productive in the first 6 months of your role. Yeah, so the qualities that the hiring manager will be looking for, it's more on the communication. So first conversation you will have, it will be more about, do I want to work with this person? Yeah. Is the person keen, like quick learner? Does the person sound like they want to learn more? Are they keen? Are they passionate about the industry? Have they done any like side projects or personal project? Do they understand the problem from the business perspective? Yep. So I don't know, have they done some personal project that really like related to life? Maybe, I don't know, you work in the Woolworths and you program the, I don't know, spreadsheet for stock take that make it easier for you to like, those sort of things. Like, did you apply your technical skills in any way to help in the real life situation? I think that's what a hiring manager is looking for when they looking for junior developers. So yes, of course, like you need to code and you need to understand how to do it. But imagine like it's another 200 people who are applying for this position who can code as well. So it's all about, I strongly believe it's all about your personality and the soft skills in this situation. And also remember, the first conversation you're going to have most likely will be with the recruiter or talent acquisition team, or someone probably who's non-technical. And you need to make sure that you relate to this non-technical person to go to the next round of the interviews before they give you the coding challenge.
Interesting. So if I had to get some key things you just said, would be get your soft skills really aligned and get you're really well. So prove like that you have those soft skills before coming to the interview, and also prove that you are actually able to learn. You have to have some track records of your learning journey to prove that to that recruiter, like, okay, I'm here, I wanted this junior position and I'm able to learn because I've been doing this and that and that. That's why I'm able to continue learning in this position. Most of the roles, they are not looking for the technical skills yet because it's a junior position. Like, you're not expected to be the best coder. That's interesting. for those who are actually changing career, do you have any like sort of structure, as you just brought some structures for us for many things? Do you have any sort of structures? What's the steps they have to take to actually start transition career? Because sometimes it's just like a dream in people's mind. I've been seeing some people, they have been working in some industries, but just because they have sometimes like a better position, or sometimes they already have like a good salary, they are sort of afraid to change, and they don't know where to start. They don't know like how hard it's going to be. So if you have some sort of structure, step by step, okay, I'm dreaming to that career, what should I do? What's the first step? What's the second step? How can I get there?
I think, first step is usually the mindset. Yeah. So let's tick that off, decide what you want, actually decide what you want to do it, because otherwise you're just going to sit there and procrastinate. I think what's really helpful is have a timeline. Yeah. Have a timeline in mind and make it realistic. Yeah. Don't push yourself like, okay, so I need to find a new job in a new industry, I don't know, in 3 months. Yeah. Don't do those with yourself. Yeah. put the realistic timelines with the simple achievable goals. Yeah. So for example, in the next month, I'm doing the research. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that I'm already transitioning or like put some goals in place. Yeah. I don't know. First 30 days, I'm doing my research. Next, like 3 months, I need to talk with this amount of people and attend those, I don't know, events. In next 6 months, I want to complete that little boot camp. Give yourself some sort of structure and cut-off days, yeah, so that you're not just only talking about the big piece of like, I want to transition my career. Yeah, give yourself some sort of timeline. It's really good if you get yourself accountability buddy. It doesn't need to be anyone, it could be just your best friend, I don't know, like could be anyone. It's really good, the best if your accountability buddy in the same situation. That's usually the great, like if, I don't know, if you have a friend who's looking for work as well, I don't know, get the separate WhatsApp chat where you like, I don't know, check in every week and say like, okay, so this is my action for this week. That's what I'm doing towards my career transition, and exchange those ideas. So when you have this accountability buddy, even if it's unrelated, you still feel like, oh my God, like I need to put something in this WhatsApp chat on Sunday and I haven't done anything, I better do something. Yeah. So it's much easier to be accountable to someone than to yourself sometimes. So get those sort of structure for you, and it could be really different, everyone's different, but be realistic, get this accountability buddy, and then set those simple goals every week. Like when I'm talking about simple goals, it could be like, okay, this week I'm going to research the market and see how many positions in the market for, I don't know, junior developers. And then I'm going to research the companies I would like to work for. And then maybe next week, I want to talk with 3 people. Talk with 3 people from those companies, or talk with 3 people who recently transitioned to software engineering, and I want to hear their story. And maybe next week, I want to talk with 3 people from a different company. So I think it's really helpful if you give yourself that little realistic goals every week that don't overwhelm you, especially if you have a full-time job. Yeah. So we're talking about you have a full-time job, you're thinking about transition, you're not ready, just quit, go to uni for 3 years. Yeah. So you want to gradually make this transition. So make these little goals that don't overwhelm you, because if you start overwhelming yourself with massive goal, you will never start, because you will be like, oh yeah, changing career is such a big thing. Give yourself little tasks, do the research, talk to people, attend the event, and things like that. Then you put your learning plan together. Okay, so I kind of understood I want to be Python developer. Maybe I'll do the bootcamp now. And maybe I'll connect to the Python developer community and talk with them and see what companies they like. And then I know what companies they're working for. Now I want to talk with like 3 people from this company. So yeah, it might take a while. It's not going to be like that. But again, it depends what is your situation. But as you said, if it's someone transitioning from the job that they have and don't hate, they still in this job, they're just thinking about transition, I think those baby steps are the best.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds like very clear steps. Just trying to summarize the highlights. So it's actually getting some clear and realistic goals, and split those goals like in a timeline, in milestones. Plan weekly. So people are going to be planning every week what they're going to be doing, and obviously they're going to be in a sort of discovery process. They're going to be discovering what they have to do by the time they are doing stuff. And one key thing I got from you is actually being accountable. Do some like public commitment. Commit to someone. I'm doing that, because when you make that commitment, you're actually gonna like feel sort of shamed to not complete that. So you're gonna go and say, "Look, what I'm gonna tell this guy now." that's a pretty
I don't like I guess the word shame, but it's like the extra motivation, yeah, and
extra motivation.
extra motivation, yeah. And I think also, yeah, you mentioned that you can do it publicly as well. You know how some people posting also like some sort of updates of their journey, so you can even do it publicly on LinkedIn and then share your learnings, and that's actually increasing your chance of networking as well. You can make a commitment, just like, okay, every week I'm going to post something on LinkedIn about my career transitioning, about my ideas. Like, depends on the situation. Okay, if it's not in line with your current job and your colleagues will see it, maybe you don't want to do it, public. But in some situation, if like everyone knows around you that you're transitioning, so make it public. Do the post on LinkedIn every week about something new that you learn. That attracts those people who may be on the same journey. People will notice you again. And same thing, like someone will watch your post for half a year, will see that you're learning, and they were like, oh, we need the junior developer. Like, oh yeah, I remember that guy was posting something that he's learning. That's easier for them as a hiring managers. Like, I don't need to post the ad, go through like 200 interviews. I just remember that guy. Like, he was doing cool posts. I'll call him.
Interesting.
It's just how it works. You know what I mean? In reality. So there is all different, I guess, ways to do it. But yeah, accountability buddy is just the easiest one.
I really like that approach. Like, I think we think very similar, like our thoughts, and like, yeah, I think exactly the same. People should be doing exactly that. Thanks for that. But yeah, Yana, we have been talking like for quite a while. Do you have any upcoming project or anything like in your side you want to share with our audience? Something you want to bring to us, or something you just want to tell everyone?
Of course, follow my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on LinkedIn, all this usual stuff. My YouTube channel, IT Career in Australia, but also I'm happy to connect with anyone on LinkedIn, Yana Martens. You can easily find me. I do some face-to-face events now, not that often. I'm trying to do some networking events. So they in Melbourne. So I'm based in Melbourne. So one is first one is on the 23rd of September, where we basically walk around the Albert Park and talk and make it a bit of a day out and exercising instead of being stuck inside in the bar or in the conference room. So I'm trying to make it a bit more refreshing because I'm outside person myself. So that's a new, some sort of new thing that I'm doing at the moment. So if you guys in Melbourne, you can come and join me for like a networking event.
Cool. Yeah, I have one of my students in Melbourne. I'm definitely going to recommend him to go there. But yeah, thanks, Yana. That would be my next question, like where people can find you. But you already said that. From those events specifically, you have any other place people can go, or they can find that in your YouTube channel, LinkedIn, where they can find it?
I have a meetup group, yeah. So I also have a meetup group. It's also called IT Career in Australia. And on this meetup group, I post my weekly discussions as well. And you can register for face-to-face events, and I post everything on LinkedIn as well. So basically, if you following me on LinkedIn, that's most likely where you get the quickest response, because I'm usually communicate most likely on LinkedIn.
Cool, interesting. That's where I found you. Thank you for responding, and thank you for being here. So yeah, I think that was it. Anything else you wanna add?
Anything that I want to add? I guess just go for it.
Go
If
for
you
it.
go for it, if you're thinking about changing something, sometimes there are some unrealistic fears that are holding us back. And sometimes they're realistic. I'm not telling you, quit your job and start coding or anything like that. So you still want to pay your bills. But there is some unrealistic fears that we have in our mind. Sometimes it's holding us back. Remember, you're not starting from the scratch. You're starting from the experience.
Interesting. Pretty good message. All right, guys, I'm gonna grab the links and everything we mentioned here. I'm gonna put in the comments on this video. So Yana, please send me that later. You guys probably can find that in the comments when you watch that. Thank you so much, Yana. Thanks for attending my invite, and thanks for everything you shared with us today. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very helpful. And guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone.